Now we're going to talk about assessment.
Assessment.
Okay,
yes.
so what do you need?
So tell me, how do you assess your students? So do you do like tests? Previously, you were teaching English.
Yeah. So I'll talk about English first because that's more traditional, I think, of what most teachers are doing. Then I'll talk about my classes I teach now. But so I taught freshman English for 9 years, I think, 10 years, something like that. Really the assessments in that were, there were tests and quizzes, traditional multiple choice stuff. Sometimes those tests and quizzes, or a lot of the time, really, there'd be written responses as well. So it might be a sentence or two, it might be a paragraph, it might be a full essay response.
So you can test their creativity as well.
Yeah, I mean, so really as an English teacher, I want, so if I gave a test over a novel or a play or whatever we read, I would give maybe a test that had some multiple choice questions like, did you read and did you understand what you read? But also, to the written response, it would show me, did they, maybe next level. So not only did they understand, like, this is what happens in the story, they also can make connections to real life. They can make connections to other things we've read in the class. So that's what I was looking for. But also the written stuff allow me to grade them on their writing, because I'm helping them become better readers and media literate, critical readers, if they're reading fiction. But also I'm grading them, can they express their ideas through their writing? So it's kind of a way to do both at the same time. And then too, obviously there would be papers in there, and really freshman here English, there's really 3 big papers. One is a narrative, which typically for freshmen we do write about something that happened to you in your life. So it's a narrative structure, beginning, middle, end. Typically they tell it chronologically, the first thing, the second thing, that sort of stuff. We also do explanatory or informative writing, so that would change up a lot based off the semester. There's always something different. And then the third really big paper, and this was the biggest of them all, was a big research paper where they had to make an argument. They had to do a lot of research and find sources on their own. So every kid had a different topic. So every kid was finding different books, different articles, making sure they were credible, using those media literacy skills. Then they had to cite all their sources in their paper, and so it was a big.
All that was graded, right?
Yeah, every aspect of it. So how are you doing as a writer? How are you doing at your ability to find reliable sources? How are also too, you had to make pick a side and make a claim and argue it. So do you do a good job of that? So there's a lot of moving parts, and there was a rubric that broke it down, this many points are.
So that's part of the formative assessment.
Yeah, so it was a formative along the way, but then there was the big, out of 100 points or whatever at the end. Summative, yes. Yeah. So what I would do formative, I would check in. They'd have checkpoints like submit your note cards, submit a thesis statement, breaking it up into.
So is there a point where they grade themselves, or?
There, to a certain degree, some teachers will do that, kind of give them a rubric or something, assess yourself. Typically, I would do that through more of meeting and discussing. So we might be in a computer lab with all the kids, and I would talk to them, or I'd give them feedback.
So they're not under pressure.
Yeah.
What it's going.
Yeah, and then I would also maybe, depending on the assignment, do a peer review. So a student would read their paper and give them comments and feedback back too. So we would do that as well.
Great. So how do you report to the parents? Does the teacher do the reporting? Does the homeroom teacher?
Yeah, so
I saw that you have online platform. Do the parents have access to that platform?
Yeah. So the biggest way you communicate with parents, or we here at Kenston do, is our grade book that we use. It's online. I could pull it up and show you. It's visible to the students. They have an account to log in, and it'll pull up just their classes. They'll see their grades.
So is it
and their parents
federal wide, or just your school's webpage, or is it?
It's a local. Our district makes that decision.
Page.
So we use a product called Infinite Campus. Another big one in this area. A lot of the schools around here in this area, Geauga County specifically, use Infinite Campus. Another big one in this area, and it's actually local, is called Progress Book. But they're both very similar. I actually used Progress Book in my old school I taught at. But yeah, they're both very similar. You put in your grades, enter them. It does all the math for you, which is really nice. I like that as an English teacher. But then too, the parents can log in. So right now, if a parent is concerned about their student's grade, theoretically they could log in and see their up-to-date grade in all their classes. So that's the easiest way, and the kids can see that. And I update
the formative grades.
Formative, not necessarily, because there's not a letter grade always or a point value always associated with that. Here, let me pull it up for you. That might.
That's the thing I was, asking myself, like, what does grade say for a student?
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't say anything about how creative the student is, how collaborative, how.
Yeah.
There's
no.
so many things that are not graded.
I agree, and I think especially at our school, the kids really care about grades, which is we're lucky in that they care and they try. But I agree, sometimes they care so much more about the numbers than was I creative? Did I do just enough to earn the points I need to get an A in the class, or did I really work hard, be creative, go above and beyond? And some kids you'll find just do enough to get the grade they want, whether that's an A, whether that's just a D to pass, and then some kids, they don't care about grades. They just, like, they're excited about something. They just want to work really hard on it and don't care.
So if a student want to go to college, and they just get the summative points, or what it?
Yeah, so typically what happens is, like right now, seniors in high school are applying to colleges. Some of them have like a deadline, like October 1st is typically the first early one, but over the next few months they're applying. So what our guidance department does, they send the colleges the transcript of the kids' grades. So every grade from high school, freshman English to senior.
So they
physics.
get the transcripts too.
Yeah. So they send them that, and then also there's really two big standardized tests in America that colleges use: the ACT and the SAT. So that's something that goes to colleges that they look at. So those are the really two big.
So it's not only the credits. Like you get credit in one subject, for example. So is it only how do you assess how many credits the student get? So each subject is a credit, or it depends on the grade how many credits the student get?
Our grade point average system that we use, I think this is answering what you're asking. So let's say for my freshman English class, well, there is a CP, which is college prep English one, but there's also an honors English one. And the difference between those is honors is more challenging. There's more work, and that sort of stuff. So we have weighted GPAs for certain classes. So the honors, you actually get more credit for an A. So I think it's like 4.5 points or something like that for an A. Whereas CP, even if you get the same exact grade, since it's it's different, you're doing less to get that grade, it's 4 points. So what happens is you take your 4 classes at a time and you add up your points. So an A is 4 points, B 3 or whatever, and then you divide that by, this is a lot of math, so you kind of divide that by the number of classes. So what happens?
Math again.
Yeah. So, and I don't know the exact numbers and things like that, but like even like our AP classes, some of those are worth 5 points. So that's kind of how we determine like how challenging the class is. So another thing that really is important is, on your transcript it has your GPA. So on an unweighted scale, it'd be a 4.0. But some of our kids take like honors and AP classes, and even I believe Bev was talking to you about some of the kids are taking college classes and stuff like that. So some of those classes are weighted heavier. So that's another determining factor colleges look at.
So the online classes are something new for me, like very interesting.
Yeah.
Like some students, the school provides funding for students to get online classes in colleges, in different schools.
Yeah, so if there's classes like we don't offer, maybe there's something really specific you want to look at. Like I know of a student I know very, very well who I've taught a couple times. He actually goes to another high school in the morning because he wanted to take he wants to be a musician. He plays the bass and things like that. So like that's what he wants to do for a living. He wants to be a professional musician. Well, we don't have like the music theory class that he wanted to take, but a high school right down the road does. So he goes there, takes a class there, gets credit here, and then he comes back here the rest of the day. So part of that is like, and I think part of this is like the law from the state of Ohio is if there's stuff we don't offer that the kids want to do, we have to find a way to offer it. And I'm not an administrator, I don't know totally how that works, but I think, but yeah, so that's a big thing. So that's why some of the kids take online classes. And the college credit, what's great about that is this is something that I didn't do in high school, but my brother did, is you earn credit for high school, but then you also are earning college credit at the same time. So you can go in, and college is very expensive. You can go in there and have, 4 classes done. That's thousands of dollars you could save, and things like that. So they're great opportunities for kids.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So is there a way to put what do you think, or do you do it in your high school, to put the formative assessment into the report the school is giving to the college?
Yeah.
Because nowadays, we can see Google and Apple are employing people without any college degrees.
Yeah.
But who are creative and who are doing,
Yeah. That's a really good question. Yeah, I don't necessarily know if formative assessment stuff like that, or I think really what you're hitting at is where they show they're creative, or they show they're collaborative. Mm-hmm. I don't know necessarily if there's anywhere on the transcript that shows that we send to colleges, and the tests like ACT, SAT don't really show that. So maybe that's something we should put more value on, because I agree that's very important, and I think that's something in the classes I teach now I think are very important. So what I do in my class is both my classes is, instead of a final exam test, they put together a final portfolio. And this is something we do in all our English classes. Instead of a big test, they take all their writing from throughout the year and make a portfolio, and that's their final exam.
So the students are doing the portfolio.
Yes. And this is something theoretically, and I know our classes do this, but this is something we could send to a college, and beyond just a number for a GPA and an SAT or ACT score, they could look through that portfolio and see creativity, collaboration, problem solving, all these really important things you said like Google and Apple are looking for. Because if you're applying to Google and Apple, you're probably very bright and everyone has really good grades. So how else do you stand out? So I don't know if we have an answer to that yet, but it's definitely something we're thinking about and trying to do. And like I said, in my class, the exam, so they have certain requirements, or not requirements, but they have certain skills they're supposed to demonstrate. So one of them could be creativity, one of them can be collaboration, and what they do is they take that, they write how this example of written work, video, whatever they've done, how that shows their creativity, and that's kind of an assessment I give at the end. So it is, I don't know, it's kind of a big summative end of the class final exam grade, but it's doing what you're saying. It's throughout the year, are you showing me you're creative and showing me those skills? So, but it's not perfect, and it's not what everybody does, but we're thinking about these things, though, you're bringing up. They're very good questions, yeah.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just,
yeah.